Stars so bright in the sky. On Arizona nights they fly. Nebulae in colors rare. Galaxies beyond compare. Sky tour in the night so clear. Brings the universe near. Real-time wonders to see. Streaming light for you and me. Lift your eyes to the skies, universe in all its light. Sky tours bringing the views. Every night feels brand new. In the dark, the night unfolds. Stories of the cosmos told. Through the lens, a distant dream. Living real like a gleam. Far away, up so high. Across the stars beyond the skull. Through the lens, a distant dream. Living real like a gleam. Lift your eye up so high. Across the stars beyond the sky. Sky tour shows us the way. Every night a new display. Lift your eyes to the skies, universe in all its light. Sky tours bringing the views. Every night feels brand new. Lift your eyes to the skies, universe in all its light. Sky tours bringing the views. Every night feels brand new.
Hello everybody, welcome to SkyTour Livestream. It is I, Mark D'Antonio, here bringing you the next Sky Tour. And of course, you'll never guess who's with me. Yes, you will. It's Daryl Mason. Hey Daryl, how are you?
Hi Daryl. Hello Mark, I'm good. You? Hello everybody.
I'm fine, thank you.
Happy birthday, Darlene.
Happy birthday, Darlene. Happy birthday, Darlene. Happy birthday, Darlene. And if you don't know, guys, Alicia in the chat, Alicia Vieras, has a daughter, Darlene, who turns 11 tomorrow.
Well,
Yeah, that's right. And right now, Darlene's probably rolling her eyes, going, Mom. Yeah, I'll bet you that's true. Yeah. She's jumping up and down. Hey, well, that's okay. Hi, Tiffany. Hello there to Tim F., who was the first one here. You get a Scooby stack, you know. Scooby-Dooby-Doo! You know, good for you. Karen Belma, how are you? Cosmic Ray, what's up? And so, yeah, Sam S. is with us. Salt Pine, hey, new face. Nice to see you, brother. And we will continue tonight with some of our traditional things we like to look at, but then we're also going to look at a few other objects. Daryl and I were kind of talking about them before we went live about what we could do. They're up in the northern part of the sky, which we'll get to in short order. Goblin is with us. Goblin, one of our past winners of equipment. How you doing? Charles Smar, nice to see you, man. I sent Charles a message saying, hey, join us tonight, and he's here. That's cool. This we're looking at right here. This is the Lagoon Nebula on the screen. It's really beautiful. The Lagoon Nebula. If we go into our planetarium segment here and we center it up and we zoom in on it, you can get some really cool information about it. You see here it shows a distance of, let's see, it's gonna be about 4,000 light years away, it says. But we don't really know for sure. It's hard to gauge the distance to these gas clouds at times. So it's probably between 4 and 6,000, maybe 4 and 7,000 light years away. But we can get close, you know. Native NC, how are you? Nice to see you. Waldo Hiding is with us. Good to see you guys. Really good. We are, as I said, we're going to be checking out the lagoon. I had started this earlier, and I just wanted to have one in the can for us, so to speak. Anodyne is with us. That's Aaron. Watching from Pensacola, Florida. Hey, very nice. Pensacola is a nice location. You know, I think in Pensacola, you have the Blue Angels flying over now and then, right, to do aerial practice, or is that the Thunderbirds down there? I think it's the air. I think it's the Blue Angels, but Aaron will tell us. Anyway, that's great. So it's nice to see you guys. Yeah, the Blue Angels. Yep, thank you. Yeah, I've seen them down in Penn. So it's pretty cool. This is the Lagoon Nebula. We talked about this. This particular nebula is really cool. We're going to zoom in now that we've got a few shots here. I want to show you something in particular. As we zoom.
Marianne is here.
Marianne who? Hi, Marianne. Okay, you see this hourglass shape right here? There's a bright star right next to it. See it? I'll show it to you. There it is. There's the star, and this is the hourglass shape. What we're looking at, this nebula is at the core of the Lagoon Nebula, and at the core is a type O star, which is extremely hot, extremely blue. Most of its energy is given off in the ultraviolet. And the ultraviolet is the thing that excites these atoms to glow. Hydrogen glows red, oxygen glows bluish green, and it makes sense because oxygen is the third most abundant element in the entire universe. Hydrogen is the most abundant element, so that's why we see lots of red and lots of blue in a lot of these nebulae. Okay, however, the blue is also something that occurs when dust clouds, like these dust clouds here, scatter the shorter wavelength or blue light from a star, and that scattering will cause the nebulae sometimes to have a blue cast. It's a different blue. In fact, it looks very different from the blue of, say, oxygen in a nebula. It actually has a very much richer, deeper blue color because it's the short wavelength, ultra blue colors that are being scattered by the dust.
It's called ray gun scattering.
Ray gun. Rayleigh. Jokester. Daryl knew that. He was just kidding.
Ray gun sounds better.
It does. It's kind of like a ray gun because it actually absorbs all the wavelengths, but it shoots out the blue wavelengths in all directions. Same property that makes our sky blue. It's just that it doesn't use oxygen per se alone. It scatters the molecules scatter the light from the sun. Yeah, so. And there may not be molecules here. These might just be oxygen atoms in here. So it's pretty cool. I want to say hello to Carl. Carl just joined us a little while ago. Carl Becker, thanks for coming along. And look forward to hearing any questions you have. And Salt Pine is Holly. Hey, Holly, I know you. Thank you so much for coming in. I know that Marianne met with you today. And that was very good to have you here with us tonight. I should have known Salt Pine. That would kind of make sense, you know. So that's really cool. Tricia Ferrer is with us. Yeah, your great friends Jesse and Holly. Yep. Yeah, Jesse was a police officer in Arizona along with Marianne. He retired and they moved to Alaska. And now they're back in Arizona. Geez, you know, it's like, what happens when you go to such cold climates and then you come back to such warm climates? That's quite a shock. But, you know, if you start here and go there, that's probably the shock too. You know, start there, that is in Arizona. So that's pretty neat. Yeah, I'm glad you're excited to join. Thank you, Salt Pine. Do subscribe, you know, because remember, all of our stuff we give away, these images we're taking right here, these images are free. And we're going to, when I say save, and I'll do that right now, see up here I have Lagoon Nebula in here, and I'm going to say save, and we're going to get a indicator that we saved a astronomical file format called FITS, but that's not the one you're probably going to want. We use that to do processing. The saving exactly as seen, this is where we do this. And now, this is a PNG file. So all you have to do is click on the file, and this is what you're going to get. That's the picture. And I just saved it. So what that means is, it's on its way up to our server, and it's going to be at skytourlive.org. And if you scroll down, it'll tell you how to get to the images on our image server. And we are working feverishly to get an app published, written by our one and only Izabela Melamed from Bulgaria. And she did a phenomenal job writing this. And it's an app that goes back and looks at years and years of our data. And you can look at every single shot we took of the Lagoon Nebula and compare them to each other. And comparing them to each other, you would do it visually in our app. But if you wanted to get really serious, you could download them and compare them star by star, dust cloud by dust cloud, and see if there's changes. And guess what? You might find an asteroid. Izabela has found what appear to be asteroids in several of our shots. And some of them might be known, some of them might not be. Daryl just put the link to our server up there. Now this Lagoon Nebula I just saved. If you were to go up to skytourlive.org, scroll down, and check it out, you might notice that this is already in the directory. It only takes about 30 seconds. Now I'm in Connecticut on the East Coast. The observatory, which you see right above me here, this is out in Arizona in the desert. So we have a long history of hanging out in the desert with this particular system, but we're doing it virtually. Okay, and again, skytourlive.org. That's us. Hopefully, you'll hang out with us for a long time to come. We also are the channel of giveaways, and thanks to several of our friends in our SkyTour family, namely Tiffany and Michael. All right, Tiffany and Mike will, on occasion, give us equipment to give away to all of you, and we hold contests during streams. We've given away telescopes. We've given away binoculars. We're eventually going to give away low light.
A new car.
No, Bob Barker. No, we're going to eventually give away low light systems so people can actually look with a night vision system outside that'll be in full color. I think that's pretty cool, so that's really neat. And that's courtesy of Tiffany Echo and Mike in chat. Mike is also known as Calybos, Calybos. Really cool. And we are forever grateful to them because they've done some really nice stuff for us. And I never forget that SkyTour live stream is all of us now.
Wasn't Calybos in Clash of the Titans, the original one? Wasn't he the other guy who wandered Andromeda?
I don't know. Ask Tiffany. She's here. Oh, you just did. Yes, Tiffany. Also tell Mike I said hi as well.
I'd have to look that up.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm having constant senior moments here. Carry on.
That's fine. All right, so this is the Lagoon. Now, you might see me gesture to this side and this side. That's because in front of me is a big curved screen. The left side is the observatory feed. The right side is the production feed that you all see. And yes, it was Clash of the Titans, she says.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you'll see me gesture, but I'm gesturing to the exact same screen as this one. But you'll also see me occasionally do things like this. We're going, let's take a ride, and go out and I'll point to things like that right there. That's the hourglass shape we're talking about in here, and that hourglass, and we can zoom in on that for you too. So here we go. Oh, look out. Here we come. All right. So now when we're here, you can actually see this hourglass. This hourglass is the actual hottest part of this nebula. And that star next to it, that's a very, very bright O-type star. And the stars go from O to B, A, F, G, K, and M. They're hottest and bluest to coolest and reddest. Okay? And the coolest stars are these M-type stars. And these M-type stars are so fascinating because they live for, they say they exist. They continue to fuse hydrogen into helium, just like all stars do, all right, for trillions of years. Not billions like our sun, trillions. In fact, the first M star to have been created in the universe is still out there, percolating along with no problem, with no end in sight. Because these stars, they have this methodology of just creating large convection streams inside. So the hot core has hydrogen, and usually in a star like the sun or a star that's more massive, the more massive the star, the faster that hydrogen that's in the core gets depleted. And that spells the end of the star's normal life. Okay? But these M stars, they're very different. They don't have a hot core with radiative envelopes, these radiation just spewing out like that. They actually have these convective envelopes, and they actually go all the way from the outer parts of the star down into the star, constantly bringing more hydrogen fuel into the core of these stars. And the stars are not big, these M stars. They're tiny. They're literally sometimes a tenth or even 100th the size of our sun. I'll give you an example. Jupiter, all right? Jupiter is like, 80,000 miles in diameter. And there is actually an M-type star out there that's even a little bit smaller than Jupiter. And it's a full-blown star with potentially planets around it. Now, the difference is, with a star like our sun, it's hotter and it's bigger. So any type of planets where life might form have to be a little further away from the star in that zone we call the Goldilocks zone, which many of you already know. It's also known as the habitable zone. And for these M stars, they're so much smaller and have so much less radiation that they put out that the habitable zone tends to be quite close to the star. For example, Mercury, at its distance from the sun, like 38 million miles from the sun, okay, these M stars can have a whole slew of planets. In fact, TRAPPIST-1 is a star that has 7 planets around it or so, I believe. And of those planets, 3 of them are potentially in the habitable zone for this star. And every one of the planets, even the outermost one, is closer to their star than Mercury is to our sun. So it's a really small star system. And it makes more sense to talk about Jupiter and its moons than it is to talk about the sun and its planets when you're talking about these small stars. See? So that's how this works. It's actually a really fascinating topic, these M stars, because the very first M star is still out there doing its thing. You know? Now, everything you see in this, okay, let's go down to this lower left side here. Look at the richness in this dust. I'm going to enhance it a little bit. I'm going to make it a little bit sharper here. So right now, watch. Okay, now you can see more detail suddenly in this. Okay, these, you can see gas clouds in here glowing, lots of turbulent looking clouds. That's because this cloud and others like it that now glow, okay, are only glowing because of this star right here and perhaps from some of the other cluster stars. But this star is the kingpin right here, and it's making the hydrogen gas glow. And that's common with these hot stars. But this dust and gas, the dust is the black stuff, and it was formed in the outer atmospheres of large stars when they grew into these supergiant red stars. The outer atmosphere was the outer parts were so far away from the hot core that's doing the fusion that the outer parts could actually make molecules of dust in the atmosphere. And some stars do that with carbon and make so much carbon molecules of other carbons, or carbon molecules, two carbons together, okay, that this dust actually turns the star's light very, very red, even more than what the normal M star would do. And Daryl and I have talked about these carbon stars. We've shown you carbon stars before in the past. I don't think we've done any, Daryl, in the last 6 months, though.
It's getting to be that time of year, though. I mean,
It is, isn't it?
What is it?
The Garnet star?
Yeah.
Yeah. We might be able to show you one tonight. The Garnet star. That's pretty cool. Now, that's Herschel found the Garnet star. Herschel's Garnet star, right? And
blue.
And the Garnet star is a deep red, and it almost looks wrong. The color almost looks wrong. But if you look at any field that we have, if it's a relatively simple star field, like without this confusion of nebula and stuff in here, you'll typically see many M-type stars, red stars. This is phenomenal, you know. I want to say hello to Kathy Pernasek, who's here. Hi, Kathy. Rockstar's with us. Kathy, thank you for supporting us. That was very sweet of you. And I know that somebody else came in that I wanted to say hi to. And I will find that guy again. But in any case, I just want to make sure that everybody has a good time tonight, because we're going to have fun. We're going to have fun. We are having fun now. Daryl, are we having fun yet?
I think so.
I think so, too.
Anodyne asked a question. May I answer it?
Yeah, just make sure you read the question back.
Okay. Anodyne, Aaron asked, do you recommend Celestron Skymaster 20 by 80 binoculars with a tripod? Is it good for astro newbies? 20 power is an awful lot. I mean, ultimately, if you can go somewhere and try them out, and yes, on a tripod, it's the only way they're usable.
Yeah, they're pretty heavy too.
Yeah, if you can get a good look through them and you like it, more power to you. Personally, I would not go 20 power on a set of binoculars, even on a tripod. But if it works for you, good for you.
I would also make a recommendation. I mean, there are 7 by 30s, 7 by 50s, and those binoculars will show you more in the night sky. You'll see many degrees of sky in those binoculars versus the 20s. And unless you know where to look, you might just be seeing points of light stars. You might not see the nebulae. But if you're laying outside and you want to lay down on the ground, it's going to be hard to look up with 20 by 60s, 20 by 30s, and be able to see with stability. You're constantly going to be this, and your arms are going to give out. You're going to get tired. So 7 by 50s are pretty good for that. You lay down, look up, and just gaze and stare at the sky. Now, I will tell you something. There was a guy that created what's called a sky chair. And you sat in this chair and had a little joystick, and you had good binoculars already fixed to a mount. And you just sat there looking up and zipping around the sky. I mean, talk about the ultimate, right? That's pretty cool.
There have been a lot bigger sky chairs that had two actual telescopes slaved together.
Yeah.
It used to be a popular hobby thing, building telescopes in Sky and Telescope magazine. That's a whole other subject, though.
Yeah. That's all right.
Anodyne, there's a thing Mark barely touched on. It's called exit pupil. What you do is you take the aperture of the binocular and you divide it by the magnification. In your case, you would divide 80 by 20, and that tells you the binocular has a 4 millimeter. Is just hang on. The binocular will have a 20 by 80 binocular will have a 4 millimeter exit pupil, and ideally, for the brightest nighttime views, you want about a 7 millimeter exit pupil. If you're older like me, you might need about a 5 millimeter. Is the most is the 7 millimeters is how far your iris, your pupil, will dilate under dark sky conditions, so your eyes wide open and ready to catch as much light as it's capable of doing. This is why 7 by 50 binoculars are so good. Divide 50 by 7, it's just a hair over 7. So they will give you the best, brightest view as a general thing. Now, if you're going to specialize, though, in a tripod-mounted binocular, mine are 10 by 70s, and they're Fujinons. Fujinon also makes a 16 by 70. Both are huge binoculars, and they're very heavy, and you have to use a tripod to support them. 10 is enough for me. 16 is giving you less than 5 millimeter exit pupil. 4 millimeters is middling. This is why I frown on a lot of compact binoculars. They're like 10 power by 30 aperture, 10 by 30s, and they only yield a 3 millimeter exit pupil, and they're not good in low light conditions. A lot of people don't understand this. Good luck. I hope if you get them, they work for you. Try to test drive them first, though.
I wanted to address something. If you guys want to support us in what we do, you can join our Patreon, or you can go to skytourlive.org, and there's a donate button. You can donate if you like, and you can donate a set amount, or you can donate any amount you want. You don't have to, but it would really help us, because we're going to be having to deal with a lot more expense coming up, because we're going to be potentially having 2 scopes in one building eventually, and we're going to end up needing quite a higher bandwidth. We're going to be showing a high power telescope, and we're going to have a wide field telescope in there, and that's going to be something that's going to be needed in order to, like, say you wanted to look at just this central part and look at it in detail and take a nice shot of just that. You can do that and get that for free, and then do this and get this for free. So we're going to be offering a lot more, and we want to do that because, well, you know us. We are passionate about astronomy. We want people to learn about the universe. And so and as you listen to Daryl talking about exit pupils and binoculars, I think that's pretty cool. Carl Becker said, I just got finished making the Lagoon Nebula my background on my cell phone. Not as hard as I thought. No, not at all. So you see, we offer a lot. Okay, so I'm going to save this finally now. And save exactly as seen. I've been staring at this for quite a while, guys, because I've been taking this picture just to get to the point where you can have a nice image when you first come in and see us. All right.
Mark, I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you have a picture of my binoculars?
Yeah, I don't. You send them, and then they're in the Skype chat somewhere. You made a nice set of binoculars. He made a pair of binoculars, which was actually like 2 telescopes side by side that were matched.
2 6-inch refractors slaved together.
They were matched optically. It was quite nice.
I don't blow my horn often. Would you mind showing it to them if I could send it to you?
If I can figure it out, yeah. Happy to do it. First things first, I'm going to get out of this. And I'm going to take us into what we call our low light mode, and this will be the mode that we find objects with. All right, and there we go. All right, here we are. Okay. All right, so then I'll go here, there.
Now all I got to do is find them.
See, I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
Okay,
One big senior moment tonight.
it's fine. All right, we're gonna go up here, and now we're gonna just go to this guy, which is right above it. This is gonna show you the difference between the nebulae I was telling you about, where one is blue and one was red. This is a nebula that's just phenomenal. It's just above. It's called the Trifid Nebula. There it is. And we're a little zoomed in right now, but what I'll do is I'll move it over. That's a cluster. And what we can do, we have another thing we can do as well. We can annotate our images with an overlay so you can see exactly what you're looking at. All right, so we have a cluster here. No, it's Measure 21. We have the Trifid Nebula here. You get all this information. Okay, I see you sent that.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can go grab that easily enough. I should. And here it comes, I guess. Here we go. Yeah, who's that guy in the picture?
That's me.
Yeah, I know that. All right, let's start this exposure first. Let's move it around, and then we'll come back, do this again, and we'll get to Daryl's. Oh, there goes a Starlink satellite. How come I know it's Starlink? Because in this particular case, we know the Starlinks travel on a crisscrossing path, and we also know that in a 1 second exposure, which is what we see right here, 1,000 milliseconds is 1 second, the trail is about that long that you saw on the screen. And that's exactly what Starlink is all about. All right, so we're going to come back here. Now that it's fully dark, we're going to take and do a 20-second shot of this location. Now you see it says searching right there. It's actually seeking a guide star. It has found one, and it starts guiding. The numbers are changing. And so now what we'll do is go in and start. We're going to get out of our low light mode and head into deep sky mode. All right.
Did you post the picture?
Not yet. I'm getting there.
Oh, okay.
I had to get this started first.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to clear this one. This one is actually... Oh, we got that going too. It overlaid. I should have left it. All right, cool. And we'll do this and that. And it should be right here in the middle. That's right. Now let's get this starting up. Make sure we're going. Here we are. We're getting our first one. Look at that. That's a beautiful nebula. And we will color correct. And there we go. And you'll see other red nebula. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. But first, let's go and look at what Daryl was showing us before. I'm going to bring this. Let me see if this works. That's not right. Just a minute. All right. Let's see. I have a window here coming. Hang on. This will work. No Skype. Let's see if that's gonna show it. That ain't gonna show it. I'll get it. It's here somewhere.
It popped up for just a second a couple minutes ago.
Yeah. I'm looking for let's see, yes, Skype. I'm trying to get it to show. Alright, I'll get it to show, guys. I will get it to show. I'm not sure why it's not showing, but it doesn't see the window. That's what's happening. Let's see, that's all Skype, so. Yeah, that's not it. It's alright, guys, we're still taking pictures. We've captured 6 of the nebula here, and we're going to keep going.
Oh, never mind.
I'm trying to get that. Well, I'll work on it. I'll try and get it up because I see it right here, but it's not showing up. Wait, I might be able to do this another way. Okay, hold on. I know how to do this. Okay. So here's what we're gonna do. I am going to bring up this object in another window and then capture that window, and that will be fine. That'll work.
I'm sorry.
No, don't say that.
You'll miss me when I'm gone.
That comment has absolutely no bearing on this problem. All right, here we go. Downloads. Here we go. All right, so now I have it in here, and it's up. So now I will capture that window. That's interesting. It doesn't show up. The window isn't even showing up. Wow. Okay, you know what? I will do it a different way. We're still picking up this nebula. Don't worry about it. Let's see. Image. We'll do that. News source instead. Okay. This will not fail. This will be perfect. You've heard that before. Alright, here we go. Look at that. There we are. There's Daryl's binoculars.
I don't see it. Is it on?
I know. It's on the stream.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Let me look at the stream then. That's me. I used to be so pretty. This is 2 6-inch f5 refractors slaved together on a mount of my own design. Magnification will vary from 20 to 120 power, and gives tremendous, amazing, higher power, yet still wide field views. Things like the Lagoon or the Trifid or the Orion Nebula will just knock your socks off.
In 2 eyes, it's well known that seeing data in 2 eyes affects the brain differently than just seeing it through 1 eye. The balance provided by seeing the same thing in 2 eyes, or in stereo effectively, provides you with a different feeling of depth. So this is something that is
it seems
built
three-dimensional.
Yeah, it's built into the human animal. It doesn't really make it the 3-dimensional image, but our eyes struggle to make that look 3-dimensional, and that's what we do. All right, let's zoom in on this. All right, let me.
Okay.
That's pretty
Thank
cool.
you.
Yeah, of course. Finally got it. Okay. There we go. All right. So now we have. This is the Trifid Nebula, and you'll notice when we zoom in, you'll see that this nebula has a blue cast all the way around it. What you need to see is when we back out for a minute, you'll notice that there is dark spots all throughout here, dark rifts and areas, and then there's light rifts, stars, and reddish fields. Now, let's see if we can enhance those a little bit. Yeah, there you go. See? So by looking at these subtle enhancements, okay, this is diffuse hydrogen all throughout this region of the galaxy. We're looking kind of on our way toward the center of the galaxy where stars become more abundant. We have a nuclear bulge in the galaxy, and we're kind of near that. And when you look at this, you'll see that this is not isolated sitting out in space. It's immersed in dust. It's immersed in all this dust, which is coursing throughout it. And when starlight interacts with the dust, it does what we talked about. The starlight is scattered by these dust particles. All right, and so this blue that you're seeing here is actually scattered light. All right, there's those tiny micron size, submicron size dust particles love to take in the blue light from the stars. Only the blue light. There's red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. And only the blue, indigo, and violet light is taken in by these dust particles, and it's shot out in all directions. So you basically are getting the blue sky effect in these nebulae. And we're not even looking at a blue sky. We're looking at dust that's doing the scattering. Our atmosphere does that, like I said, with the molecules in our atmosphere and particles. So this is something that that we can't avoid. And now in the middle of this nebula, you see the Trifid name comes from these three lobes. Right, 1, 2, 3. And these three lobes are dust that is in front of the nebula, and the nebula is bright behind it. And it's what?
There are 4 lobes.
Well, there are if you go here, but it's called the Trifid, right? We can't change the name.
Sorry, I tried to sound like Jean-Luc Picard there.
Oh, very good.
You know, there are 4 lights.
Mr. Data, pull us in closer. Yes, Captain. What would you like to do? I want to see the 4 lobes, Mr. Data.
Can we go to Stellarium for just a second?
Yes. This is still cranking up, so we'll bring up our planetarium that's tied to our telescope. And here is the area we're in.
Yeah, if you back out a little bit, you see we're looking at the Trifid, and it sits just above the Lagoon. And if you zoom out a little bit more, go down a little bit, move them toward the top.
Okay.
There's the spout of the teapot right there on the lower left. So if you can back out even a hair more and show the teapot.
Yeah.
When you look up in the sky and see the teapot of Sagittarius, the spout of the teapot, there's the teapot right there. The spout of the teapot is very near the center of the galaxy, and both the Lagoon and the Trifid immediately above it are like up in the steam coming out of the teapot.
So
the Milky Way.
This is the top of the teapot. The teapot is the shape we see within the constellation of Sagittarius, the Archer. Okay, but so we call it a teapot because it kind of looks like that. It looks like the handle here, looks like the body of the teapot, looks like the spout of the the top of the teapot, and looks like the spout over here. And as Daryl was saying, here's the Milky Way, and it kind of looks like steam coming out. Obviously, it's not really a teapot, but obviously, people see different things in the sky.
A couple thousand years ago, people looked up in the sky at Sagittarius. They saw a half man, half horse shooting a bow and arrow.
Which is right there.
Hey, just like that. But nowadays, we see a teapot.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean the Archer is not there, the Centaur.
Yeah. The teapot is called an asterism. Asterism is an unofficial pattern of stars.
Like the Big Dipper. The Big Dipper is an asterism within Ursa Major, the Great Bear. Rene Cruz, hi.
Okay, let's go see your pretty picture.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. So there we go. Now we've got 27 we've taken already. That's only a 20-second exposure. And we have a filter that we use called the full width half maximum filter. And if a star image comes in slightly elongated, we reject it, which is what these red ones are. All these green ones are underneath our 7.95 threshold. All right. So if like a wind breeze comes in and shakes the telescope, it could ruin the whole shot. Now, when I say whole shot, what do I mean? See, like that one. That one is rejected. This is one shot after another. And what we're doing is, when this first shot was taken, we took it. When the second shot was taken, it was aligned with that first and stacked on top. And we kept making an image sandwich all the way up. And if any of those images showed kind of movement in the stars due to wind, we rejected it, which means we always get perfect images.
It's like a very neatly stacked stack of pancakes.
Yeah.
Or a Dagwood sandwich, if you're old enough to remember that.
Or a deck of cards, where each card is an image. And the more you put in the stack, the less digital noise you get in the image. So we're going to go to 30 on this, and then we'll stop. All right. So if the next one comes in as green, it means we will pass muster. And there we go. We got our green one. We got 30, so I'm going to save it. I named it up here Trifid Nebula. And you'll see when I hit save. Okay. The astronomical format is out there. And now the file you can just double click on is out there. And that one looks like this. That's the pretty image that we're going to have for you when you go out to our file folder. And you can download it for free. And now, let's do one more thing. This is kind of cool. We're going to now go back to our setup. And we're going to create... we're going to do this annotation again. Okay, so here in this annotation, we can see that the star cluster is labeled. This is Measure 21. The Trifid Nebula is named, and some of the brighter stars are actually identified, and it gives you information about this. And we're going to save this annotation out there with it. So you can look at it too if you're ever curious what you were looking at. I'll tell you, there's nobody doing this online, you know, and we would really, you know, I know it's not a telethon, but if you could, you know, see your way to donate something to us, that would really help us, because we've got a lot of expenses, and I think what we produce is something worth watching. You know, there's some people, they actually take what we do, they put it up on their big screen TV, and they make popcorn, and they sit and watch it like a TV show almost. It's really kind of cool. All right, we're going to save this again. And you can go there by SkyTourLivestream.org, SkyTourLive.org, I mean. And in the right up top, you can see a button to donate if you want to help us out. Okay, let me come in here now and save exactly as seen. All right, so here's the next one. So now, this is now safe. It's safe, and it's out on its way to our server. And we'll go into our low light mode now. There we are. Now let's come in, and we're going to shift gears a little bit, because we're going to actually move our way up. And I want to look at, see, the moon is going to be coming up, so I want to capture things before the moon comes up. What's that dark nebula, LDN 673?
Yes, I believe so.
We're going to look at, we might have it right here. We're going to do the cave too, hopefully. All right, well, let's do it. Let's look for it. LDN 673. Yeah, that's where we're going. Okay, this is a really cool location because there is a tremendous dark cloud in this region. And we're going to go there and check it out. You see the telescope is pointing higher in the sky now. And this is the dark region, I believe. I'm going to move over just a little bit.
We're looking up into Aquila the Eagle now.
Yes. Jessica. How are you? Jessica's with us. Okay. Don't fall asleep now to this Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Hope some of you guys got to hear the opening song for SkyTour Livestream. We're using that now as an opener for a little while. The previous one was The Universe is Calling You, written by Rebecca Borneman, who had written it for use by SkyTour as a lead song. And we'll get back to it. She's a wonderful friend. Okay, we're gonna now go up in our sensitivity. Let me give you a little tour too. Well, for some of you that haven't been here before, I want to give you a little bit of a tour. And for those that have been, get a little refresher. This is our telescope control panel here. All right. This is our telescope computer. That's the telescope in the building out there. This here is the big mouth doing all the talking. This is our main screen, and this is our camera control system. This is our focusing system, and this is a processing system. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that the two most important fields is this exposure field and this gain field. Okay, the gain is the sensitivity of the sensor Starlink, and the exposure is the amount of time that sensitive sensor is being exposed. So, good night, Marianne. And so what we do is we play back and forth between the gain and the exposure time to get the best blend. And that's what comes from experience of knowing how these cameras work. All right, so now let's take an exposure here. We're going to do we're at 250 gain, and we're going to do an exposure of 25 seconds. Right. You'll notice I type in 25,000. That's because a millisecond is a thousandth of a second. So 1,000 milliseconds is 1 second. 25,000, 25 seconds. So let's let this go. We're going to pop out of it, and we're now going to go into deep sky mode. And we'll see the Trifid Nebula from before in the buffer, and we will look at it one more time. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That is just really pretty tonight.
That's Messier 21 is that star cluster just to the upper left of it.
That's right. So we're going to clear this now because we have a new one coming in. And let's back out to fit the width into the view. And there it is. You see this dark nebula in here. Really pretty. We did center it up nicely, and you could tell where the stars weren't, that there was something there. And that comes from experience and knowing how this stuff works. Creeptasia's with us. Hey, Creeptasia, how you doing? Yeah. So now as we do this, I'm going to come in and look at our view here. Zoom out. Way out. And I'm going to go to the eastern sky. Daryl knows why. And I'm going to get rid of the ground and see how far. There is the moon right there. Right? Isn't that what it was right there? Yeah, the moon is coming up. Let's see how far away. Ooh, the moon's about to rise, guys. That's okay. That's okay. A dark nebula is hard to visualize with the moon because it makes the sky so bright. But we have filters that can knock out 90% of the moonlight. And I'm going to move this black level line up to the top of our average red, green, and blue line. As you can see, this dark level takes the background light, which the background brightness, which is here it's artificially induced when I do this. And I'm going to move this all the way to near the white peak, which is the average of those three curves. And you get to just before the beginning, or just before the peak. And just before the peak is about the best place to be, because that makes the background the darkest. And this is our mid-level. We can slide that in and you'll see a lot more data in there. But it's a little bit brighter. But if you'll notice, there's something else you see in this dark nebula shot. If you look at the dark nebula, it's not just dark and black like a silhouette, is it? It actually has lighter regions on it, and then shaded regions, and then lighter regions. That's because this is light and dark dust based on density and illumination by other stars. Sometimes a dark nebula can be illuminated by starlight, and the dark nebula won't scatter the starlight. And that's something we're seeing here. So
when we see dark nebulas like this, when you look out in the sky at night, if you're in truly dark skies, and you see dark areas where it looks like there are no stars, people like to call those voids, but true voids are very rare. Mostly when you look up and see dark areas, they're dark clouds of dust. And they are closer to you than the stars are, or the nebulosity behind them. So the dark clouds are in the foreground.
right, and we've talked about that. This dark cloud here is up here, and the stars are back here behind it. So it's occluding or blocking those stars, and that's something that is really kind of crazy that it does that. But it does. And so this dark dust is, remember, it's a three-dimensional universe. So we have to keep that in mind. It's not a flat projection. Hey, James Hyatt, how are you? Nice to see you. Thank you for joining us.
When we look up this direction in the sky, too, in Aquila, the Eagle, you're still in the thick of the Milky Way here. So there are just countless oodles of stars in the background.
That's right. That is absolutely true. And if we zoom in a little bit, now that we're in here, you'll notice there's a lot of faint red stars in here. See these little red guys in here? Now, some of those are red because dust tends to redden starlight, because remember what I said, the starlight is red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. The dust in space will scatter blue light away, meaning that starlight will tend to be more red, because that's all that's left in the starlight is the red, orange, yellow, and green components that are coming toward you. So they'll tend to look more red, which is why this overall redness is here. However, when you see a star like this right here, that's bright red. Star like this, bright red. Stars like this, bright red, bright red, bright red. Okay, those are actually intrinsically red. So those are probably the M-type stars that we're seeing there. Lubo, welcome from China. Nice to have you with us. Lubo's one of our Chinese SkyTour family members who likes to join us. Neat.
Lubo, it's a morning object right now. It's going to, it's a morning object. The comet he's talking about is a Tzu Chen Shan Atlas.
Oh, yeah.
C2023 E3 or something like that.
It'll be evening again.
Yeah, the comet's doing a rather complicated dance with the sun right now. It dropped down from the evening sky. It's presently popped up in the morning sky. I think you have a better view if you're in the southern hemisphere. I've seen some pictures of it taken from Australia. It's already up in the morning sky. And they're hoping it's going to brighten a lot here in the next few weeks. That dance it's doing with the sun, well, it's in the morning sky now, but then it's going to drop down below the horizon again and come back up in the evening sky. About the 10th of October, if I remember correctly, is when things are going to get looking good, at which time it's going to reappear in the western sky after sunset, and hopefully at its brightest at that time. They say it may even be a negative magnitude object at that time, so it may put on quite a show. It may become a great comet.
Yeah, and our new observatory layout is going to allow us to capture things closer to the horizon as well. You see the walls of our building here. We can't look at the horizon, which is about here, obviously. So we have to be above the horizon. In astronomy, I'm a professional astronomer. That's what I got my degree in. So when you look at objects in the sky as astronomers, we never look at the horizon. The only time it's valuable is when you're actually doing public outreach, which is what I'm doing. So I want to be able to gain back our horizons, because there's some things near the horizon that are just astonishing. Yeah. As Daryl knows, as I know, and as some of you know. And we'll get to those. But you'll notice now that we have some... Oh, thanks, Carl. That's so kind. Thank you so much. Just because, he writes. Just because. Wow.
Thank you, Carl.
That's very kind, Carl. Thank you. Remember, you can donate that way to us. You can go to skytourlive.org and hit the donate button and pick your own amount. It's very kind. Helps us get along. It helps us move further along. And it's very important because you can't imagine what it costs us to bring this to you. You know? And the fact that we've been going on for 5 years now, Daryl? Maybe I think 2018 we started officially.
No, you started, I think, in 2016.
Really?
I came around in 2016, and
wow.
then I was a co-host since 2017, I believe.
Wow. So we're talking about like 8 or 9 years now.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, time to kick it up a notch. We have to deliver. One of these dust clouds here, this telescope here is 10 inches in diameter, but we have the opportunity and humbling nature of our gorgeous skies out there. How gorgeous? Let me show you. All right, this is our all sky camera view right now. This is the Milky Way, horizon to horizon. Okay, this is the only light pollution we have out there. This is Phoenix, almost 80 miles away, and we're out in the middle of the desert. And so we're actually looking at, right, if we look here, this is Vega, this is Deneb, and this is Altair right here. We're down here. I think we're down here, right here. I'm not sure. I gotta go look.
A little bit to the right, lower right of Altair.
Yeah. So now, when we talk about those three stars I just mentioned, Deneb is the northern cross. It's the tail of the swan, and you can draw a line to Vega, which is the brightest star in the northern sky in summer. And from here down to here is Altair. And from Altair back up, we have this triangle. This is called the summer triangle. All right. And this is Vega, the star Vega, 26 light years away. So you're seeing it as it was 26 years ago. Deneb, gosh, was that 1,500 light years away? About?
Something like that, I believe.
So you're seeing it as it was 1,500 years ago. Altair, I don't know how far away Altair is, but it's got to be...
farther away than Vega.
Yeah,
I do believe.
several hundred light years maybe.
I'm going to correct you on something.
Okay.
Arcturus is brighter than Vega. A lot of people don't see it that way, but actually Arcturus is very slightly brighter than Vega is.
Okay, and Arcturus is right there, I think.
Yep.
Now we could also add our constellations on here too. But if you look, the thing about Vega, Vega is an A0 Roman numeral 5, A0V. It is what we call a standard star. It's used in astronomy because of this classification of its spectral type, right? And a spectral type is composed of a spectral class, which is in the OBAFGKM star name there, the star class that we talk about. And it's an A star. It's an A0. It could be 0, 1 through 9. Okay, 0, 1, 2, 3. It's a 0. It's the hottest star in the A-type stars. And it's a Roman numeral 5 luminosity class, which means that it's doing normal hydrogen to helium fusion in its core. Now, this star is a standard for us because this shows us the widest. When you look at the spectra of these stars, you break their light up into a spectrum, you'll see that they have dark bands in them. These dark bands are caused by elements in their spectrum because the core is very, very hot and it's radiating out with all this energy. The outer envelope, even though it's hot, it's several thousand degrees, the core is millions of degrees. So what that gas on the outside is doing is it's actually absorbing some of that extremely much hotter radiation coming from inside the star. And different elements absorb different types of radiation, different amounts of radiation in different ways. And what we see in the spectrum are these dark lines we call absorption lines from the outer envelope of this material, taking some of the energy out of that radiative core that's passing out all this immense amount of energy. And when we see that happen, okay, we will see a spectrum of a star that actually has a bunch of vertical lines in it. Now you might wonder, gee, could we ever see that? And the answer is yes, because on our next telescope, which we already have, we're going to have a filter wheel which will allow us to cycle through different filters. And one of them is a spectral filter that's going to allow us to see these lines in the different spectra of these stars. So we can look at this star, for instance, and take its spectrum and see and classify the star based on what we see in its spectrum. It's really, I mean, I did that for almost a whole year, and it's really cool. And Lubo asked, have you got other scopes somewhere in the shed that would be good for planets? Yeah, our next telescope, which we already have, actually, is going to be what's called a higher focal length, and we will be able to see the cloud bands on Jupiter and even some details within the bands if we do it right. And we'd be able to see the surface of Mars. We'll be able to see details on Mars with that telescope as well. The higher focal length is really good. That higher focal length isn't good for something like this, because this right here is a large, expansive object, which this music is very good to portray. And so this large, expansive object then is best captured with a wide field telescope, which is what we're doing. Susie Karasik, how are you? Susie is the winner of our telescope, a telescope that we gave away. Yeah, okay, so we have 35 shots here. We're going to save this now. This is Lynn's Dark Nebula Catalog Object 635.
What?
This guy?
I thought it was 673.
Yeah, maybe you're right. 673. I thought it looked wrong. Wait, is that a senior moment? Oh no, I had one of Daryl's senior moments. See,
Oh,
Daryl.
I got plenty. I can let you have some.
No, you already gave me that one. Don't do that again.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll save exactly as seen. All right, so now what you're going to get is this. Right there. That's the image you're going to get when you go out to the server and take it down so you can enjoy that. Now, if we do an annotation here, it's only going to see the stars. Some of these objects it doesn't actually know. So it's only going to see this Hipparchus star. HIP stands for Hipparchus Star Catalog. And it tells you what stars. It's Omega 2 Aquila, or 29 Aquila. It's a magnitude 6 star. So it gives you an idea. You can't see this star with your eye. In a very, very dark sky, you might, but it's very, very tiny. In binoculars, it'll be visible. Waldo Hiding says, sorry, but this is so much better than hanging out in a bar. Yeah, well, you know what? Thank you, Waldo. That's really kind. I'll save this anyway. I know, right? If you're not careful, you're going to learn something, right? Susie loves the detail. All right. We're going to go to 40 on this one because when you have a dark nebula, it's always best to do more exposures because the dark nebula can get lost against the background. And this one came in very well. If we go here, we'll see that we didn't lose any exposures. All right, in our full width half maximum. All right, so we're going to save this one more time. And save it exactly as seen. All right, now the moon is probably up, so we're going to look, we're going to try and look for something that doesn't require lots of exposure, like a dark nebula. All right, let's go to our stellarium. By the way, if you want stellarium, it's free. You can go download it and enjoy it. Let's check out the moon here. Let's see how far up it is. It's just coming up now. Let me check on this just to see. What is its altitude? We can try it. I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna go to this star's called Alpheratz. I'm gonna try to get to Alpheratz. It's in Pegasus. It's the upper left corner in the square of Pegasus. Yeah, California Nebula is not in the cards at the moment. But give it time.
It's over between Perseus and
There it
Taurus,
is.
isn't it?
Yeah. There is Alpheratz. That is Alpha Pegasi. And what I'm going to do is move it into the center. We're going to give it a little centering here, and then what we're going to do from there is we're going to move over to something else in the sky nearby. And the moon is smaller tonight, so it won't interfere as much. It's going to tend to make things have a little bit of a blue cast, but we can deal with it. We're doing really well tonight, guys. Thank you for hanging out with us. By the way, speaking of the moon, the new telescope is going to be extremely well tuned to look deep at the moon. Lubo's asking for the Veil Nebula, and the moon is out now, Lubo. So some of the blues that are in the Veil Nebula are going to be kind of muted by the moonlight, even though we are, filtering. All right, Michael Hedrick, by the way, good to see you. All right, here we are. So now what I'm going to do, now that it's centered up, is I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to zoom in on this. All right, and I am going to synchronize. You'll see this line up on this. There we go. And now the telescope is synchronized for this particular position in the sky, make it a little bit better. And we have different reticles here. We also have distance gauges. We can figure out all kinds of things. All right, so now from Alpha Rats, we're going to head over to everybody's favorite object. And this is sort of like the coming sky here. Let me just...
That was shit, not Alpharets.
Isn't that Alpha Rats? Did I not go to Alpha Rats?
No, you're
Oh,
shit.
you're right. I'm sorry. I thought I was here at Alpha Rats. My mistake, but it's okay. I centered on it, so we're good. All right. I wondered why I said that. I thought that was I couldn't read my screen for a moment. All right, so now we're going to keep going. And you see the telescope is really bending far over there. There it is. What I'm going to show you now is a galaxy just about 2.4 million light years away. This light you see left the galaxy 2.4 million years ago. And it's such a big galaxy that we cannot fit the whole thing in our view. So what I'm going to do is show you the bottom half. And to do that, I'm going to put the nucleus of the galaxy up near the top. And then move it slightly to the east. I mean, to the west, I'll do that way. So we can maximize this corner. Okay, a little bit higher. And this is a galaxy as well. This is a satellite galaxy of Messier 31, the Andromeda galaxy. All right. Now this one, we're going to do a 25-second shot. We don't have to, because this galaxy can be seen quite easily. But we're going to do it anyway. Why? Because I want to. I want to show you the coolest thing. But first I'm going to do this. I'm going to zoom in on it and make sure that our stars are still nice pinpoints. As the temperature changes, sometimes we have to refocus. But we look good. This is good. All right. That modeling you see, that's the noise of the sensor. I'm going to drop us back down to 200 sensitivity on our sensor, because it's such a bright object, we don't need to be at such a bright sensitivity. All right. So we're doing a 25, yeah, it's going to be beautiful. We're going to do a 25-second shot here. And what we're going to do is now go into the stack. You'll see the previous guy that we did, which was that dark nebula. There it is. It's beautiful. Yeah. And then we're going to clear this because that's up on our server now already. And here comes the Andromeda galaxy. There it is. The blue is from the moonlight that is interfering. But don't worry about that. We're going to cancel most of it out with our color correction process. And we'll zoom out a little bit. Pretty amazing, huh? I mean, look at that. That's a big galaxy.
And you're only seeing half of it right now. Less than half.
Yeah, less than that, because it goes down to about here. You're going to notice these bright, clustery looking things. We'll talk about those in a minute. Okay. So you're going to see these dark lanes. These are the dark dust in another galaxy 2.4 million light years away. Now, in our galaxy, you see them too. And we had a picture we just took of a typical dark dust knot in our galaxy. That could correspond to something like here or here. A little tiny object, and we're just much closer to it, so it seems bigger in our sky. And this beautiful object, the Andromeda galaxy is by far one of the finest galaxies in the night sky. I say close second to it is Messier 33 in Triangulum, which is a little bit farther down that we can't get to yet. We could, but it's not gonna. The wall of the building is gonna interfere. We're rushing the season to see these, but I'm doing that for you guys so you can see it. We're going to call this Measure 31 M31. And it is a GAL, galaxy. All right. Hey, Red Angel. Nice to see you. Ronald's here. Right on time.
Here.
Right on time. No, Ronald, you're not on time. It's okay. Ronald's one of our benefactors. It's good to see him here all the time. All right.
Waldo, I saw it rained here the other day, the day of the eclipse, and the sky cleared wonderfully at sunset, except for the eastern sky hiding the eclipse, the lunar eclipse, until very late in the partial stage for me. Clouds finally rolled back, and I thought the moon looked like it was wearing a toupee, because the dark cap over the total eclipsed area, partiality actually, looked just like a hairpiece on top of the moon's head. I mean, it just jumped out at me.
A hairpiece on the man in the moon.
Yeah.
All right, so if we look here, you'll see now these, as we've added more stacks of these images, these all the images we've stuck on top now are these guys, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, up to 8. These guys now are making our image a lot clearer, and we can zoom in a little bit now on this lower section, because this lower section, and by the way, with the next telescope, we'll be able to focus on just this. There's a lot going on in there. All right, so you see these bluish, this blue cluster here, this blue stuff, this blue stuff. These are hot young blue stars. These are known as OB association stars, O and B type stars, and so they're extremely bright. There's another set of them at the top portion that we don't see yet in the galaxy. But this is really something, and you can see globular clusters like we have in our galaxy. Globular clusters, these halo objects that rotate around the whole galaxy. You can see those in here and count them all up. The Andromeda galaxy has very, very many of them. All the stars you see in here, these are all foreground objects, and the galaxy's way, way out here. Okay? So you're not, except in these little knots of blue, where you see really thick clusters of stars, you're not seeing individual stars in the Andromeda galaxy. You're only seeing clouds, star clouds, and you're not resolving into individual stars. But again, this is a veil of our stars you're looking through, and this is a companion galaxy, Measure 32 to the Andromeda galaxy, and Measure 110 is out of shot up at the top. It's another elliptical galaxy.
Hopefully we'll show you the other half of the galaxy.
Yeah, that's the next step. You know, so
When we see Messier 32 there, it and Messier 110, which is out of view at the moment, as Mark said, they're satellite galaxies of the Andromeda galaxy, rather like the Magellanic Clouds are satellite galaxies of our Milky Way galaxy.
that's it.
down in the southern sky.
So Measure 32. The nice thing about this particular camera is we have lots of what's called dynamic range. We can actually take our histogram and drop it way down and get right into the center of these objects. All right, or we can actually look at these objects in this manner and see them where we actually have lots and lots of brightness. Now this looks like brightness here, but that's because there's actually the galaxy behind it. We're seeing the light of the galaxy behind it. That's why this looks this way, right? And now those blue objects, look at this now. This blue object now here, these OB association is extremely pronounced now. Let's kind of bring this dark level up to just ahead of the peak, and there you can see all this subtle detail and the dark dust that's in here, and then these hot blue stars are showing through in here. Look at this. That's beautiful. It's beautiful. And the same amount of dust. This galaxy, by the way, is a galaxy that's in collision, and that collision is going to be with us. Actually, it's heading for us. We're heading for it. And this is a color correction now. You can see that everything comes out much better, and the blues show up so much more stark against the against the older stars in this galaxy.
Zoom in toward that blue area again.
Yeah.
Okay, and then to the upper left of that blue area, a little above center, there's a red area.
Oh, there are many nebulae in here. Yeah.
Well, there's one in particular. It's on the center line, about halfway from the center, right there.
Yeah.
That is the star factory right there, folks.
That's a Lagoon nebula, as seen from the this one, right? It's like a Lagoon nebula.
Or an Orion nebula.
Yeah. And we could close in a little bit more, and you can see some detail in that. Look at that. And you can see an indicator of many stars in here. That's actually quite nice. And I've gone through and counted quite a few nebulae that are like the Lagoon, like the Orion Nebula. And if you've seen us in the winter when we look at the Horsehead Nebula, well, that's a dark nebula. It's from this dark dust being silhouetted against a brighter hydrogen cloud that's glowing in the background. And we see these being silhouetted against just star clouds in the background, which is what our LDN 673 was we were looking at before. I'm going to find the other. It may still be up top, but let's go up here. Yeah, there it is. Here's another vast nebula right there. In there. That's a vast hydrogen cloud in there that's glowing. Here's another one right there. And there's probably a smaller one right here. You can see lots of detail here. There's a knot of stars and gas here. It is just incredible. By staring at this galaxy, we learn about our own, and because we can't see our whole galaxy. With the Andromeda galaxy, we can photograph the entire galaxy. Now, isn't that pretty? Now, one thing too that is interesting is that this galaxy literally has, it's got to be over 1 trillion stars, literally. And we have perhaps 100 billion at the low end, 400 billion at the high end. And this one has literally as much as 10 times to twice as many stars in it than our galaxy has. So this is the more massive of the two galaxies. So as it approaches us, it's going to pull our galaxy toward it and start to tear it apart, just like we see with the Whirlpool galaxy, M51, that we have seen before.
Are you going to do the other half?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so this is 24 exposures. So we're going to save that. And then I just had to get rid of most of the noise.
Folks, if you ever heard of Edwin Hubble, the guy for whom the Hubble telescope is named, what you're looking at right now is what Hubble made famous, what made him famous, and what showed us how the universe really is. Hubble figured out that, there's stars called Cepheid variable stars. They vary in brightness on a regular rhythm. The bigger and brighter they are, the more often they flash, they pulsate, and their pulsation period is timed to their intrinsic brightness. And Hubble knew this, and Hubble started looking at stars in the Andromeda galaxy, looking for Cepheid variable stars. He found them. He measured them. He measured their apparent brightness at the distance he didn't know yet. And once he proved they were Cepheid variable stars, it told him from the difference between the apparent brightness and the intrinsic brightness of stars, Cephid's pulsation period gave, that he figured out how far away the Andromeda galaxy is. And he proved that the Andromeda spiral nebula was actually an exterior galaxy, like our own, far out in space. And he opened up the scale of the universe to us by doing that.
Yep.
And that's why Edwin Hubble is famous.
That's right. And they're romantically called island universes, which is effectively really what they are.
Mm-hmm.
And we used to think that in between galaxies there was nothing. Turns out that that's not true. What's in between galaxies is lots of hydrogen gas, neutral hydrogen, and so we see this space is anything but empty, and so it's kind of cool. So this half. Now you see I'm not moving it over here. Why? Because this is the best diagonal for this, and that is measure 110, and you'll see something really cool with measure 110 when we get to it. So we're going to do a 25-second shot here. Okay, 25,000 again. All right. So you're going to see the upper part of the galaxy now. So we're going to come out of our low light mode and go into our deep sky mode again. That's the lower half of our galaxy. Now this will be down here. We'll see the upper half of the galaxy. We'll clear this now. Alright, so here comes the upper half of our galaxy. And the first one's going to look a little rough. Okay. But we'll color correct it and we'll get it looking good. You'll see this beautiful rim of the galaxy up here, and you'll see more up here. There's actually more nebulae up here too as we increase our exposures. You'll see that, and we'll keep color correcting. There we go. Right away, this you can see is more elongated than measure 32, which is that other elliptical galaxy. Elliptical galaxies are just that. They're elliptical, and they typically have no dust in them. Right? They're actually very gas-free. There's almost no gas in them. This one's an oddball because if we zoom in on it, even now, with just 3 shots, we can see that this one actually has a dark lane of dust in it, and more dark dust here. So something about this galaxy is very important to understand, because it's showing us how potentially these galaxies had formed. You know, so this is actually really an important galaxy to study. Okay, color correcting again.
When Hubble did his work on Andromeda galaxy, I forget, which telescope did he use? The 100-inch?
The Hooker telescope? Is that the one you're talking about?
The Hooker, the Hale, whichever. I get them confused.
Well, the Hale's the 200.
Oh, okay. So the Hooker then, I guess. I think he did that with the 100-inch telescope, didn't he?
Maybe. I know he used a 48-inch Schmidt camera at Palomar for some of his research.
I'd have to look it up.
Yeah. Well, you can see another star cloud of blue stars is appearing up here. Now, just keep in mind, guys, that you're looking at something that's 2.4 million light years away. And we're seeing it through a veil of our stars. And these stars are at all different distances to us. It's all three-dimensional. So once you get past our stars and out into intergalactic space, the space between galaxies, then you won't see stars. You might see some rogue stars that have left their galaxy. But in this particular case, between here and the Andromeda galaxy, we don't have too many stars that are floating out there. We only are going to see a lot of empty space, except for the hydrogen gas that we won't see with our eyes. And this galaxy will be bigger and bigger and bigger in your view screen the closer you get to it. And at one point, it's going to actually be upon us. And in the far future, you might think, oh no, is that the end of us? It's going to rip our galaxy apart. Yes, it will. But there's something you need to know. Even though it's going to rip our galaxy apart, nothing's going to change for any life forms in our galaxy. They'll just get absorbed into this galaxy, and the two galaxies will make a new galaxy together, and will eventually be in the Andromeda family of a galaxy. And it might be a very strange looking galaxy, and who knows, from a few tens of millions of light years away, far future astronomers will look and say, oh look, here's a galaxy that's actually eaten another galaxy. We see that now with the Whirlpool galaxy. We see that with the antennae galaxies, and so on. So the whole universe is moving slowly but inexorably. So eventually this galaxy will be here, and it will fill our whole sky. In fact, it may look like a Milky Way to people eventually. You know what I mean? Creamers is with us. Yes, this is M31. Nice to see you.
Mark, could you excuse me a moment, please?
Yes, sir.
Right back.
Okay, now that he's gone, let's all leave. All right, so let me... His microphone's very sensitive, as you can hear now. It's very quiet. Look at this beautiful rim here. See this, how this is forming up now? Gosh, that's beautiful. We'll zoom in on this right up here. Let me see if I can bring that out a little bit. Okay, that's about as dark as the background we can go. Notice there's these dark knots of dust in here. Look at that. These are out in that galaxy. Isn't that pretty? Let's bring this mid-level closer, and that will brighten all that detail. Look at that. And now if you look right here, you see a nebula here, strange shape. We have some stars here. We see another stellar nursery like the Lagoon Nebula, which is, we see one here. Again, there's thousands of them in this galaxy. Oh, and we have one right here. See that? It's embedded. Yep. Oh yeah, really pretty. Gosh, this is beautiful. You almost don't realize you're looking at a galaxy. And then you look in here and you're seeing this beautiful set of filaments, brown filaments in here. This is just gorgeous. Wow. But the best nebula so far in the Andromeda galaxy is this one right here. You can see that nebula very clearly. Here's a knot of hot young blue stars. That's why they look blue, of course. And there's dust in here, which accounts for why it looks sort of brownish red. All right. Really fascinating. And oh yeah. All right. We have another nebula right here. See that line to it? It's got an interesting line. That's very pretty. We'll zoom out a little bit. Look at that. Moving down, we can see even more. Wow. This is really pretty, Daryl. This is looking gorgeous.
Uh-huh.
Let's color correct and correct for gradients and so forth. Look at that beautiful rim of stars there. That's just stunning. Another one on the outside here with a little dark in a transition. Another one there. Stars there. Another dark nebula transition up there. And more stars still. Going on and on and on. That strange line of stars right there. Very interesting. And now you can see this very interesting Messier 110 with some of this dark nebula within it. Now this is a satellite galaxy. It's possible that this galaxy orbiting the Andromeda galaxy may have picked up some of its dust early on, and that's what this is. Because we don't usually see dust in elliptical galaxies like this. I'm going to try to enhance the sharpness of this over here. See this nebula over here, Daryl?
Yes.
That's a beautiful nebula. I'm going to zoom in on that. Okay.
I see a red spot.
Yeah.
Another star factory.
Right there, yeah. Stellar Nursery right there. Okay, so what I'm going to do now... my pick for the most beautiful nebula is the Tarantula Nebula. Oh yeah, large Magellanic Cloud. Tarantula is very pretty. That's correct, Aaron. Very, very pretty. I'm talking about things we can see here in the northern hemisphere.
Yeah. I wish.
Well, hey, all hope is not lost. We are looking at trying to start a campaign to fundraise for a Southern Hemisphere observatory.
If the Tarantula Nebula was as close as the Orion Nebula, the Tarantula would fill half Earth's sky. It's that big.
Sadly, if it was also that close, it might spell doom for Earth because of the radiation that might be emanated from it.
You're no fun.
I know, huh? I'm increasing the sharpening capability here to see. So you can see a lot of different gradations in here. When we really increase our sharpened view, when we back out, you'll see even better what the division looks like. The glow you may be seeing over here is something called amp glow. It's inherent to the camera. We remove that. Susie, I'm so happy that you're enjoying the stream. Creeptasia says, love you guys. Such a good stream. Well, thank you. That's very, very kind. You can tell the passion. There's no doubt about it. We're very passionate about this. And I've said this before, and maybe some of you will hear this for the first time, maybe not. But I knew I was going to be an astronomer when I was 9 years old. I looked up in the sky and said, I have to know what that is. I have to know what's going on up there. And so, that's when I chose to go on the path, and I never looked back. I will admit, I did go down the oceanography path for a period of time. Okay, I did. And then that's inner space, okay, and outer space. So, like here, not so much. Inner space, outer space, two of my loves. Here, it's okay. But it's too mundane. I have to be out in the celestial abyss or deep in the oceanic abyss. That's just so incredible. Some of you also know that I spend a lot of time talking about extraterrestrial life, along with exoplanets, because that's one of my chosen specialties in astronomy. And the extraterrestrial question is one of whether they could be here, and the answer is that I believe they can. I believe they can. Now, I have a lecture that I put up online on my channel, on SkyTour live stream channel, and if you sift through the past videos, you'll find it. And it's a lecture called Yes, They Are Here. And I actually go through at a lay level, so everybody can understand it, the physics that explains how they can get here in literally an extremely short time. Imagine taking a minute and a half to get to Pluto. Literally. You can do it. And there's a way to do it within physics, because we don't violate the light speed limit, because we're outside of our 4 dimensions of XYZ moving through time. But if you go watch that lecture online on my channel there, on our channel, you'll see it. And in that particular show, you'll see Tara Diulis, who is 1/3 of the nonprofit organization for SkyTour Livestream. She's also one of my hosts on that was SkyTour Radio. Daryl used to be one of our hosts as well with us on SkyTour Radio. And before that, it was Amanda Curran. Yeah, and if you watch it, you'll see that it's understandable to everybody. It's one of my most popular lectures, actually, that people have said, because in fact, I did it in Texas. I talked about it in Texas, and a cowboy gave me his cowboy hat. That's like, you never give up your boots, you never give up your hat. But this guy said, you put this all together. You explained it in a way that I can actually now appreciate and understand how they could actually be here. Because that was my biggest skeptical point, was that the universe is so vast. How could they possibly get here? And what you laid out is something that makes it work. And go ahead.
Did you look at the video I sent you recently?
Which one?
Everything You Know Is Wrong.
Oh, yes. That's the Second City Television.
Fire Sign Theater.
Fire Sign Theater, yeah.
City. It's about when the aliens show up.
Yeah. That was funny.
You didn't watch it, did you?
I did absolutely watch it. Yes, I did. It was an old 1980s or 70s.
Actually, it came out in 74.
Yeah.
The video was made in 93.
Yeah.
Yeah. Looked like a big fried egg.
It was funny. I never got into Fire Sign Theater the same way other people did, I guess. I was more Monty Python than Fire Sign. And I was less Second City than I was Python. Monty Python to me was really the best variant. Okay, so we'll save this now.
Oh, Second City was great.
It was. I mean, a lot of famous people got there, there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John Candy
John
and
Candy, yeah.
The whole bunch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Rick
Very
Moranis.
Oh, yeah. All right, very good. So in this image, then, you see these beautiful star clouds up here of hot young stars. You see this nebula sticking out like a sore thumb. This is a stellar nursery. This might be the equivalent of their Eta Carina Nebula, okay, or Tarantula Nebula. We don't know. Now, if you look at this galaxy, and you say it's 2.4 million light years away, look, there's another nebula right there, stellar nursery. And you can see tons of them dotting this entire region. When we process this, you can literally go through and literally see things like globular clusters. You can see these beautiful nebulae, lots of dark nebulas here. Gorgeous, 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 gorgeous. All right. Well, it's saved. I'm going to do one more. Save exactly as seen. And again, when you get it, this is what you get. That's what you'll get right there. That's the full frame. This camera, as I've said before to many people, is specifically tuned to this telescope. And so we're getting the best arc seconds per pixel of the camera, sensor view. Arc seconds are the measurement of portions of a degree. There's 60 arc minutes in a degree. There's 60 arc seconds, okay, in a minute. And so that corresponds to a size on the sky. So when you look in the sky, you can say that things are separated by several arc minutes, or some degrees, arc minutes, or arc seconds. Degrees are biggest, arc minutes are next, and then arc seconds are smallest. So when we say you can get, the best arc seconds per pixel, it means that you actually have the best resolution if you can get a very good number with that. And we did that with this particular camera. So it's perfectly tuned to this telescope. All right, we're going to color correct one more time and save one more time. And then we'll be done with this exposure. And let's see if we can... I don't know that we're going to be able to see 33 right now. We're going to see. Lubo asked for 33. This is a request hour as well, if you guys know something you want to see. And I think tonight we have room for one request, and if we can, we will check it out, because Measure 33 is literally a companion, effectively, to Measure 31 here. They're in the same relative location in the sky, and they're not too far from each other physically in real life, in the real sky. So from here, we look for a triangulum down here, and it looks a little bit low. I don't think we're going to be able to see it from here.
Not yet.
It's right there. Let's see what its elevation is. Its altitude. Yeah, it's still low. Not quite. We'll have to wait for it later in the season, guys. But we can, since the moon is up, it won't be much sense to look at any nebulae, but we might just be able to catch this. I'm not sure. Let's try. You'll see the telescope is going to go way toward the north. There it is. It worked. This is the double cluster. It's probably one of the most beautiful clusters in the night sky, besides the Pleiades. And we will capture this, and you'll see some very, very cool stars here. We've seen this many times. But you're going to like this. I'll tell you why. Because within this star cluster, pair of star clusters, you're going to find that some of the stars have evolved to their red giant stage. And you'll just see this beautiful glittering jewel box of stars, and then some beautiful red stars.
When you see stars in open clusters like this, they tend to be of a similar size or stellar class, like OBA, etc.
And
so
age.
Thank you. They tend to be the same age. And that we see some red giant stars popping up in them shows that they are aging.
Yeah.
Some are progressing from bluer, hotter to cooler, redder, and bigger, turning into red giants. Or
yeah, the process I've outlined that process in the past, guys, the way it works, and we'll do that on another stream. We'll talk about stellar evolution more directly. I think our full width half maximum. Yeah, we're just outside. Every now and then, once it gets dark out in there, these desert winds come up. These winds that form adiabatic winds in the desert, and sometimes we get this. We get a problem trying to capture, and we're gonna let it go another couple of exposures and see if we can let it settle down and start capturing our cluster. I'm waiting with bated breath. I don't even know what bated breath is.
well, it's spelled baited, B-A-T-E-D. There's no I in it. And what they mean is bated breath means like you're holding your breath.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I guess it's not like a dead worm on a hook breath.
No.
Well, let's see. Okay, notice that they are trending downward. So we'll see what we get. I may raise this up a little bit. This threshold. If this doesn't work, I'll raise it up a little bit. Daryl, what are you doing, man? Put that car away.
Yeah. Zoom, zoom.
Zoom.
Probably ought to close the door. It's getting cold outside.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, all I gotta do is... There.
Oh, yeah, it's closed.
Right behind me.
You know what?
It's getting the 40s tonight. May get in the 30s tomorrow night.
Oh, wow. I have a feeling that our telescope is probably... It's guiding, okay. There we go. We got one. And there's these red stars here, these red giants. Let me go back to our histogram here. And let's color correct right away and line up all our curves so we get the right colors. See that? And then we'll move our black level over because, as I said, we go up that curve and just stay just this side of the peak. And then we will get to see this beautiful, beautiful dark view here. That's stunning. There's these red giants in the cluster. Now, the stars evolve at different rates, even if they're the same kind, because some are slightly more massive than others. The more massive ones evolve faster. So these stars were probably more massive and formed at a time when there was a lot of material in the cluster. And these other ones probably formed with less material at the time. And so we get this very incredible interplay of colors. Let's color correct it again. There we go. All right, and this is called the double cluster.
Izabela's here.
Hey, Izabela. Nice to see you. Isabella is the person I told you that wrote the application that we're trying to get published on Android and Apple. It's a beautiful application.
She asked the question I was about to ask. Isn't the Helix in the sky now?
I'll have to look. It probably is, right? Aquarius?
Yeah.
I'll go see if it's high enough.
Actually, Saturn's in Eastern Aquarius. And yes, I believe, I remember right, Helix is in Aquarius.
Yeah. But this beautiful double cluster, guys, look at that, huh? That's really pretty. Yeah. And just for fun, we'll do an annotation on it and tell it to check it out. And there you go. This annotation gives us the details of what we're looking at. Very busy area in the universe. Okay.
If you like using binoculars,
Oh yeah, this is gorgeous. For those.
Anodyne, whoever, this is an excellent binocular object.
Yes, it is.
It's in Perseus,
I'll
in
show.
the northeastern sky now.
I'll show her.
It actually sits right between the body of Perseus and the W of Cassiopeia there.
See, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stars of Cassiopeia, and then you have these stars here, which look like a little bit to your eye. It looks like a line in the sky, and just about, just over halfway between there and the W, you'll see a fuzzy object with your eyes in a relatively dark sky. Even in a sky with some light pollution, you'll see it. And you can see where the moon is right now. It's down here. However, the double cluster is really interesting for the following reason. One of these clusters, they look like they're right next to each other. But again, remember, space is three-dimensional. And this cluster here is a little bit further away than this cluster, which is a little bit closer. If you notice, that one is a little bigger than the one on the right. So it's actually a little bit closer to us. So they're separated by some light years. Okay. So what we can do is we can drop this way down and darken up the background a lot. And see, that'll make a really beautiful picture. So we'll save this as this. And then run over to see this planetary nebula that's the closest one to us. And that would be the first time we took it with this camera. Ooh, that's cool. Alright, so let's do that. That's a good idea. I hope it's available to us. Let's go and see. Now, the moon is out, so that's gonna... It is somewhat dim. But we should be okay. Here's Aquarius, there's Saturn. And here is the Helix, I believe. That's right. So let's go on over there. The telescope's going to swing way over to the other side of the sky. It looks like it's high enough to be seen above the wall. Looks like it'll be visible. Oh, I probably should have changed this as well. There we go. There it is. Well, we held our positioning all the way across the sky. That's good. Wow. Well, this is going to be pretty, guys. All right. Let's make sure that we don't have to refocus right now. Let's actually go eastward a little bit. I mean, you can see it kind of looks like a donut right now. I'm excited. I don't think we've ever taken a picture of this. I know we haven't taken a picture of this with this camera. This camera allows us to see more detail. So I'm looking particularly for what are called these radial spokes that are inside of this nebula. Yeah, this could be something. You notice you can see a little red and a little green already. So we have glowing hydrogen because the central star is a white dwarf in this object. And you can see it right there. It looks blue, doesn't it? That's because white dwarfs are extremely hot. So they tend to be on the blue end of the spectrum, the hottest and bluest. And so dead stars tend to be very hot. But they're not doing fusion anymore. Okay. Let's do a 25-second shot here. I am really excited about this. This is going to be cool. Oh, yeah. Off we go. We're guiding. And let's go in to our live stack. The Helix never fails. Never fails. It always never disappoints. It's wonderful. Let's go back.
Ronald has a question of you.
Okay. All right, 1 second. I'm going to come in here and drop this down to 8.27. Look at that. Wow. All right. We can already see the red things on the outside, the red extra stuff. Mark, what is your music source? Oh, this right here is the YouTube library. And the opener song I wrote and composed, and then I actually arranged it using artificial intelligence. I told it what instruments, I told it what voices, I told it what other text to and other musical things to enunciate. And that's our opening song. It's going to be a closing song too, and this will be the last object, so you'll see it. You'll hear it, I should say.
Bonnie, this is a planetary nebula. The blue star in the middle is a white dwarf, or on its way to becoming one. No, it already is a white dwarf.
It is, yeah.
Nerd Farm Astro asked a question of you also.
About the camera? I think I just saw that.
What scope and camera?
Yeah. Let me first say to Bonnie, I've known Bonnie for years. She's a wonderful person. So here's what's going on, Bonnie. When a star runs out of hydrogen, it goes through a series of end life stages where it will swell and pulsate and so forth. And as it swells into a red giant, when it runs out of its main nuclear fuel, it'll slough off some outer layers sometimes. So this white dwarf you're seeing in here is effectively the core of the remainder of the star, and all this stuff you see here is the stuff that was in the envelope of the star. Like our sun's core, okay, is about the size of, say, Jupiter, okay, and the rest of it is just along for the ride. It's not doing any fusion like the star does. The core is the only thing doing the fusion. So when this star was doing fusion, it was great. It was just a star. But after it stopped doing fusion, it pushed off many of its outer layers like this. And there's details to how that works. But that said, when the core stopped producing energy, gravity started to win and the core began to collapse on itself. And because the star wasn't massive enough, it collapsed down to a white dwarf, which is about the size of the Earth. Now, this is 600 light years away, this nebula? Is that what it is?
I forget. Let me go look.
All right. Either way, this white dwarf is, every one of these stars is simply a point source in the sky. It's the sensor on the camera that makes it look like a bloated round object. So the stars aren't bigger like this. They're all the same tiny dots. Some are just brighter tiny dots, which is kind of hard to follow. But as you look at this, you can see that material sloughed off, and as the star's stellar winds pushed out, this material just kept on going and was free, and this core collapsed. Now, if you took a square or a cubic centimeter of this material right here, a cubic centimeter of white dwarf, and you brought it to the Earth and you could weigh it, it would weigh the weight of a car, 2,200 pounds. Okay. Now the next step in a star's evolution is something that happens with the more massive stars. They continue to collapse past white dwarf stage into what's called a neutron star. A neutron star is only the size of the city of the Manhattan Island, I should say. So the whole Earth down to Manhattan Island. And you're putting more mass into there. So a cubic centimeter, centimeter by centimeter by centimeter, a little sugar cube size piece of a neutron star, if you could weigh it, believe it or not, would weigh 467 million pounds. Believe it or not. That's how dense it is. So it goes from a density, a sugar cube size of the white dwarf is about a ton, the weight of a car, and a neutron star, the next level up, is 467 million pounds in a cubic centimeter. That's quite a lot. All right, let's color correct. What did it say for a distance?
Wikipedia can't even get it straight. At one point it says 650 light years. Another one says 695 approximately light years.
Okay. But as
somebody said, Nerd Farm, it is, I believe, the closest planetary nebula to Earth, the Helix.
Yeah, I mentioned that earlier. That was me, I think. But he may have said it.
Did you answer his question?
I'm about to, yeah. So Nerd Farm, the camera we're using is the ZWO 183 MC Pro. And the telescope is a modified LX600 f10 10-inch, modified down to f1.8 with a hyperstart system. Yeah, this is looking nice. Now, if we zoom out, you'll see the actual size on our sensor. That's the size on our sensor right there. But boy, oh boy, without a moon, this is even better. Now, as time goes on, we're gonna get out of using the moon because it's near the end of it's gonna be new moon on the 29th, I believe. So notice that the white dwarf is blue. You notice that? I can show that better by, I think, taking this mid-range thing way down here. Okay, now you see how blue that looks. That's because it's so hot, and it's giving off a lot of ultraviolet energy, and that ultraviolet energy is causing the hydrogen gas here to glow and the oxygen to glow. Oxygen glow is caused by doubly ionized oxygen. Hydrogen glow is caused by singly ionized hydrogen. Remember, ionization is when the electrons, at least some of them get kicked off the atom for a period of time. As they absorb energy, they bounce off the atom, but then they spontaneously come back, and as they cascade back into the atom, they give off light. And where they end up falling into the atom are these discrete energy levels. All right. For hydrogen, it's N equals 2. For the oxygen electrons, it's 2 different locations for the oxygen atom. But these electrons falling in, all right, they fall to discrete energy levels because each atom has these discrete shells, these discrete energy levels. And that's where the word quantum in quantum mechanics comes from, because you have discrete quanta, or energy levels within an atom, to which the electrons fall into during ionization and what's called recombination, when they go back into the atom. See that? Stuff you didn't even want to know, now you're learning it. This is cool. Let's see if we can squeeze some more data out.
The new moon is October 2nd, by the way.
Oh, I thought it was the 29th. Okay. So we do this.
This really shows the difference with the way it works with the colors of the oxygen and hydrogen light compared to the old camera. I mean, the blue is really blue here.
Yeah, and I
It
gotta.
used to be much more green.
Yeah, if we actually do a manual color correction here, it'll make space look green, and the blue is still blue. See? But one of the things you'll notice also, if we go back to that, all right, if we zoom out here, all right, and the moonlight is making this subtle glow. See that right there? That's a shell of gas that was ejected at some point in the history. Now, space is not empty. There's stuff in space, and depending on what the expanding gas was interacting with, it could be slowed down. Here it looks like it's hitting something out here to make it have a snowplow effect that's building up. Right here it's relatively unimpeded, there it's relatively unimpeded, but here it's being squashed, probably because it's impacting dense dust and causing it to kind of slow down and be more dense, glow more.
There's a very faint shell on the lower right also.
There is, yeah, and I was hoping I would actually be able to show that. Actually, let's see, if I kick this here, this is another histogram, and that should, if we back out, we might be able to see it.
I can barely see it.
Right there.
Moonlight may be causing a problem.
Yeah, it is. Is it there, or is it there? It looks like it might be there.
From about 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock.
Right.
A little farther out.
This guy?
Right there.
Yeah, we'll have to wait for the be no moon. See this weird effect we're getting here where it's brighter in the center? This is because of the fact that we're experiencing the moon right now.
Actually, I can barely see that from about 2 o'clock on the nebula, there's that kind of pointy bit right there at 2 o'clock. And
Oh, right there.
The tip of that point is arcing over to make that faint arc farther on the right.
I see that now.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's take this one down again. Look at that. Ah, this is beautiful. This is a really stunning nebula. Now, to us, this looks beautiful, but to any potential life forms that may or may not have been in this star system, this spelled their doom.
Yes.
Yes.
They call this the Helix because it's sort of spiral shape. This is probably another one of those barrel-shaped planetary nebulas that we're looking at almost edge on, or face on, end on.
Yeah. Like the Ring Nebula, supposedly.
Yeah.
Bonnie, you've been to one of our streams before. Alright, I'm going to change the name here. to the Helix. And this is a PN, a planetary nebula. And we've got 25, so we'll save it there. Save exactly as seen. And Bonnie says she wants an image. Well, if you go right here to skytourlive.org, you can go and download this free. You can take it, enjoy it. You'll be able to zoom in on it, check it out. Now, if you want to join our Patreon, folks, what we'll do is we process these, highly process them, get rid of all the noise that you see here that we may get, and from there, you can, through the subscription to the Patreon, take down absolutely stunning views that are high res, that you'll be able to do anything you want with. Not just put them in your backgrounds, you can put them on products if you wanted to. And if you don't want to do that yourself, you head up here, okay, to our Etsy store, SkyTour Shop, and we've already done it for you. So we would definitely enjoy having some support from you if you can afford to help us out, because we have a lot going on, a lot we want to do. We want to bring you more astronomy, and I would just hope that you guys would like to support us at some point. At least share and like what we do, because if you think there's nobody doing what we're doing, not like this.
We are right on the edge of some fine detail. Look inside the nebula.
Yeah, I see it.
That there. From there, over on the left side, from about 6 o'clock, following that inner curve, up till 12 o'clock, you can see some pretty fine detail in the clouds.
Yeah, I was looking for those radial spokes.
Yeah, so was I.
And I think we're starting to see them.
Yeah.
And we've got 30 images now that we've taken.
They used to call those cometary globules or something of the sort. Not that they have anything to do with comets, but I guess they just thought they looked like them. Some kind of fine fringing inside the edge of that cloud. Actually, it goes about all the way around it.
Yeah.
You can see a couple down at about 5:30.
Yeah, right here.
Also, a little farther to the right, just to the right of where you are.
Right there.
There's one. There's another one.
They're going to point at the white dwarf, too, because that's the source.
Cool pick. Good recommendation, Izabela.
Yeah, thank you, Izabela.
I suggested it earlier, but he hit me, so I showed up. It's going to be that time of year, man. That, you know, the seasons are changing.
I know it.
Time marches on.
Yeah, this
summer stars are going away, and the fall stars are rising, and not long before we'll start seeing winter stars.
Yeah, look at these. You can see, oh, there's some streaks right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, this camera is definitely showing us better detail. Well, folks, this is going to be it for tonight. It's actually 12 minutes after 1 in the morning here in Connecticut. And it's 12 minutes after 10 out in the telescope building. And the moon is out. So this is not ideal. But I will tell you, we are getting some really nice views of the Helix. So I hope you guys will come back again. I just saved it, so the Helix is going to be out there. Let's do the annotation just one bit before we go. There it is, the Helix Nebula. So we'll save with the annotation. So when you look at that, when you get that, if you want to, this is what you see. gives you everything. All right. All right, folks. Well, thank you for coming. Join us in Patreon if you'd like and help support us. And if you can, go to skytourlive.org, click the donate button, help us out. But if you don't, it's all still free, and we're all still going to be your friend. Hope you guys have a good night, and we will talk to you a little bit later.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, folks.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, that's right. We should thank them all the time, huh? Yeah, they're all good people, you know. Thanks, guys. We'll see you later.
Stars so bright in the sky, on Arizona nights they fly. Nebulae in colors rare, galaxies beyond compare. Sky tour in the night so clear, brings the universe near. Real-time wonders to see, streaming live for you and me. Lift your eyes to the skies, universe in all its light. Sky tours bringing the views. Every night feels brand new. In the dark, the night unfolds, stories of the cosmos told. Through the lens, a distant dream, living real like a gleam. Far away, up so high, across the stars beyond the skull. Through the lens, a distant dream, living real like a gleam. Lift your eye up so high, across the stars beyond the sky. Sky tour shows us the way, every night a new display. Lift your eyes to the skies, universe in all its light. Sky tours bringing the views. Every night feels brand new. Lift your eyes to the skies, universe in all its light. Sky tours